I don't know about that one.
Yeah, that one's not going to make the cut.
That's going to be a Patreon goal is you get to hear all of Duane's cut jokes.
Welcome back to Starfield with Normal People. My name's Duane, and I'm joined with my good friend Michael. Michael, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, yes, it's me and ready to talk about Starfield.
Ready and willing.
Ready, yes, definitely. Yes, I am not being held against my will.
Yet. That could change.
But
You must talk about Starfield.
We need to talk about Starfield. And we should also talk about the Game Awards, because that was kind of a big deal in the world of gaming.
I never really had any inclination to want to sit down and watch the Game Awards, but then you kind of got me hyped about it.
Yeah, I have noticed I'm actually one of the few people in generally my friend group. Like, even though they are gamers, most people that I know don't watch, and they just wait for the trailers to come out. And I think that's fine. I enjoy it. I enjoy the surprises. I
thought I would be completely disinterested in watching it, but once I started it, I was strangely involved. I actually needed to make dinner in the middle of it, and I grabbed my phone with me so that I could continue to watch it.
Yeah, I have to say personally, like, I am the type that, summer comes around and I like to see the big announcements at, like, basically what used to be E3 but is not anymore. And lately I've been sort of underwhelmed. I'm a big Xbox fan, but I was underwhelmed by Xbox this last summer.
Right.
This show was so good to me. Like, all the trailers, I think that there were more trailers for games that I was excited about than I've seen in one place in a long time.
That's what surprised me about it, because I've only ever seen highlights of the show or clips. I've never actually sat down and watched it. So I was like, man, there's a lot of trailers. Is that normal? And maybe, it's not really the Game Awards. It's more like hype trailer show with some awards sprinkled in, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they need to find the balance for sure. Like, I definitely, most of the reason that I watch is the trailers and the announcements. But if they're going to celebrate winners, they've got to give them a little bit more time to speak,
Or do they? Because I understand, and someone made a comment on our Spotify that we were giving Jeff a hard time for being cringy. And my retort to that was all award shows are somewhat cringy.
Yeah.
And we talked about that on one of our pods. But I think Jeff does a great job. Like, he was definitely, the way that he planned the show, some people said there wasn't enough time for the actual awards to talk, but he's looking at big awards shows like the Oscars and like VMAs or whatever, some big mainstream TV shows to try to draw in as many viewers as possible. And there is an awards show format that works, even though us as gamers, we'd rather, hear the developers talk or, give thanks to their cast and crew, I guess.
Right.
But there's the internet for that. You can go on and you can watch Baldur's Gate execs, to your heart's content, probably.
Yeah, that's true. Like there's nothing stopping from people going on whatever platform of choice they have and thanking who needs to be thanked. So I think that they're just, you can't let people drone on and on forever, but there has to be some sort of balance. I think that they'll figure out the balance.
Sure. All in all, though, Jeff did a great job, I think.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
Game Awards. So what's your big, number one excitement thing from the Game Awards?
Oh, man. So, number one, Hideo Kojima has his new announcement. I mean, this guy was supposed to make the new Silent Hill game, and Konami has just mishandled everything that they touch over the last 10 years or more.
It's a disaster over there at Konami.
Awful. It's awful because they make money off of their pachinko machines, I guess, in Japan, and they stopped caring about the games themselves.
They make a lot of money on physical gaming machines. There's actually a huge Konami presence here in Las Vegas. They make physical gaming machines.
Yeah, so the thing that is exciting is Hideo Kojima. He's doing a horror game of some sort, and Jordan Peele is involved, and that's very exciting. Even though the trailer, don't get me wrong, the trailer you watch and you go, what is it? What am I looking at? I don't even know.
Yeah, the trailer was confusing. I did appreciate Jordan Peele coming out because I respect him. You and I are filmmakers, so as a obviously he's in a different league than us, but he is an amazing filmmaker. Yeah. Hilarious. You know, he kind of does it all. Like, it was great to see him paired with Kojima.
Kojima is the only one that can get away with a weird trailer like that.
Right. Even though the trailer, you're like, what's going on? He hasn't let us down.
Yeah.
So expectations are high for that title. What was it called?
It's called OD.
OD. Yeah. That's so funny because like I've been watching a lot of NBA and that's like a thing that players say is like, oh, that's totally OD.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is slang for like overdose, but like also awesome. Apparently.
That's interesting.
Yeah,
that's new to me.
And that's your Xennial update. That's your slang Xennial update for the week.
It's funny because it's called OD, and I see people already calling the game Overdose, and I'm like, we don't know. Mm-hmm. I know for sure that's what they want you to assume it stands for, but it might not.
So that was your big excitement?
Well, okay, so that's not the one. Mm-hmm. It's hard for me to pick one. So I'm also going to throw out there Jurassic Park Survival.
Yeah, that looked cool, didn't it? I was like, they're going back.
So good.
It's based on the original movie.
Yeah.
Which was awesome.
It's like the aftermath of the original movie. And this game, Look, we don't know anything about it yet other than the trailer, but this could fill that deep void in my heart that is there because we don't have a new Dino Crisis game.
Right.
Capcom has not made Dino Crisis, and now this game looks like a survival horror game set in Jurassic Park.
Right.
This is a game that it's like we've always wanted.
Right.
And they never made it.
This is the Jurassic Park game we always wanted. And shout out to Turok Dinosaur Hunter, obviously a different game, but from our Discord. So they'll probably love this game.
Yeah. I also have to say the Blade game being published by Bethesda. Yeah. So this was cool because it just shows like it's in Paris and you're like, what's happening? And then you go in and there's this barber shop and there's tons of crosses. And here's the thing. At first I'm like, oh no, not another vampire game. Because they just did Redfall, which was not well received. And that's what I would...
More like Red Fail.
And so I'm like not into it, right? I'm watching the trailer. I see all these crosses. I go, oh no, not a vampire game. And then the character sitting in the seat of the barbershop, he says, don't worry, man, I don't bite. And I was like, oh man, it is a vampire game. But then this dude who looks very Blade-like puts on sunglasses. And I'm not kidding. So like my wife and I are both watching and we both just go, oh, like like it hit us at the same time that we're looking at Blade.
Right.
And then they show like the picture and it says Blade and we're like, yes.
Did you ever read the comics?
No, but I love the movies.
Yeah. But yeah, so missed that one, but we have to talk about our idea of putting Starfield down to one planet and then No Man's Sky. Yeah, we just talked about it. And then it's like, this looks really cool. And this is our idea, like realized.
Yes. A few episodes ago, it was called
100
Planets versus 1,000 Planets. And so I believe that you talked about it. So reiterate what you talked about.
I basically said, why have 1,000 planets? Why have 100? I mean, we could actually scale this down to one and make one procedurally generated planet that could have more crafted points that seem closer together. Because like a criticism of Starfield is that you go to all these different planets and there's a lot of repeated points of interest, procedurally generated, although the planets can vary a lot, which is great for our Starfield Adventure Club. There's such variation in the planets that keeps it interesting.
And we'll get, and just to jump in, we'll get to this, but to illustrate that point, the planet that we're going to next week, there are things on it that I haven't seen yet.
Right.
You've been on hundreds of hours into this game.
You've been on hundreds of planets.
Dude, because
you're a survey junkie.
So I am, and I'll say this. So anyway, I just wanted to say huge kudos to the fact that we're still finding new stuff. But yes, you were talking about,
that was my favorite trailer of
the
Video Game Awards, because it was like, this is moving the bar higher, setting the bar higher for video games. It felt like.
Yeah.
Like this was revolutionary almost.
And to clarify, this is the developers of No Man's Sky have a new game that they showed off called Light No Fire.
Yeah.
And it's a fantasy game. It's all on one huge planet
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically, I was watching the trailer and I was like, this is exactly what Duane was talking about.
Right.
Like,
It's almost like I had a mind meld with, what's his name?
Sean Murray.
Sean Murray, yeah. He was so excited to announce the trailer. Some of it, I'm sure, was nerves, but there was genuine excitement in his face for like being able to show this to the world. What did you think of the title, by the way? Because it's like reminiscent of No Man's Sky, that 3 kind of words together in a kind of almost alliteration, but kind of like a weird.
I'm somewhere in between. Like, yeah, it's cool, and then also like, I don't know what is this?
Yeah, like it's not. I can't. Is it Light My Fire? I can't even remember.
It's Light No Fire.
Light No Fire. Right. So it's not a great title initially, but
it might
I don't know.
be.
I've never liked No Man's Sky. Like to me, that title has never resonated with me either. So
I got used to it, but originally I was like, No Man's Sky. I don't know. I don't know. Their titles
Come on,
are very
baby,
weird.
Light No Fire. Wait, what is it? Light My Fire, Light a Fire.
Light a Fire, Light No Fire. And when I first I was like excited about it, and I went to text my friends, and I was like, "This new game, Light No Fires, plural? Is it singular?"
It's like a Smokey sign, like Smokey the Bear. Light no fires. Yeah, you too can save a forest.
You too can light no fire.
But it felt WoW-like. Like WoW had this ability to, in the later expansions, fly around over mountains. At first, you couldn't. There were barriers of mountains and stuff. Then they introduced the new Burning Crusade, or whenever you could fly. That first one, it felt bigger. It felt more open. Yeah, and this kind of feels like that too. And then we saw
the next level version.
The next level, we saw people building real time, which was cool, right? Like somebody building a chimney.
Yep.
But then there was someone chopping down a tree, and I was like, dude, you're chopping down my tree in front of my house that I'm working on?
Yeah. You better be doing some co-op, because you're a little that's the rule of building, right? Is like you're in my area.
You're infringing on my zone, buddy. You chopped down the nice big fir tree I had right out in front of my cabin.
That really, we could probably do a podcast about video game etiquette, because now there's all these things like we'll play Minecraft with our kids and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, our kids will start like mining like a hole, like just a few yards away from our house.
Someone's going to step into that hole.
Like this, I'm building here. This is my house. You go away. Like find your own area.
Right in the middle of my cow pasture, my fenced-in cow pasture. You started a mine.
Like, dude, I was going to plant carrots there. What are you doing? But so I want to also shout out Starfield on this, because in the announcement for Light No Fire, Sean Murray kind of talked about No Man's Sky as having mountains, but not really. Because the procedurally generated mountains of No Man's Sky they're like little hills. They're like whoop whoop, like up and down.
Right. It doesn't feel like a mountain.
Yeah. And he mentioned it to hype his new game, which does have giant, beautiful
mile-high mountains. Didn't he say something like mile-high mountains?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're big though. They're definitely big.
He said that, and I get that he's all just going from his old game to his new game. But I want to shout out Starfield, because that was one of the things that I loved about Starfield. Was I came from No Man's Sky, loved it, but then Starfield has a grand sense of scale.
Right.
And you see it, like, you'll go to a planet that's all like flat, and then that has a sense of scale, or a moon. And then you'll go like the mountain generation and the landscape generation in Starfield still is like, of any released game, the best that I've ever seen.
Hands down. I completely agree with you. It's like skiing on the East Coast of America and then going to the Alps.
Yeah.
Or like Park City or Vail in the West. Just the difference in scale is, phenomenal.
And the thing is, like, I love competition in gaming. When there is competition and games are always trying to outdo each other, like, we win as gamers.
Yeah, competition is good, and we saw that with the nominations for Best RPG this year. And Starfield, that was the only category that they got nominated for. I do think they got robbed. I'm a bit of a simp, as you like to say, for Starfield, but I think it could have been Game of the Year. We talked about that. I won't go into it. But.
Yeah, we did. When I watch the Oscars, there's sometimes like a movie that I love that I want it to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the movies. Okay, there's the competition, right? And there's the movies that that I hated, and then the other movies that I loved. And I would rather that the one that I want to win lose to another good movie and not to the movie I hated. And if Starfield was going to lose Best RPG to anyone, I'm happy it was Baldur's Gate 3.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? Another great game. This year was amazing.
It's not just a great game. It's a game that it's one of the best games in the last decade. This particular year, again, it's not anything against Starfield. I think it's just the competition's nuts.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Starfield would definitely have been nominated for more things. If it, like, for instance, if it came out last year, it would have been nominated for more things. And what if, it probably would have won.
What if Fallout didn't exist? What if Bethesda was not Bethesda? What if this was from an indie or a smaller game studio, or if this was the first title of a studio? This would have been nominated.
That is a good point, because so many criticisms of Starfield is when it's comparing to Skyrim, it's comparing to Fallout. I see people, actually, maybe you said this also, so I apologize if I'm throwing shade, but I've seen people say, like, why don't I have VATS in Starfield? And don't get me wrong, would it be fun? Yes. Yeah, it would be fun. But
VATS is the slow-mo tech from Fallout, by the way.
Yeah.
Right, where you can stop time or slow it down, and then you can choose body parts to target.
Yep.
Super fun.
And it is super fun, and I love it. But the reason is because it's not Fallout, and
they couldn't have put it in, because if VATS was in Starfield, people would be like, oh, you just copied one of the best game elements. And if you love VATS like I did in Fallout 3 and 4, you use it all the time.
Yeah.
It almost becomes that's the gameplay element that you use the most, or I do.
I use it as a crutch, totally.
Right. I mean, it's
a
almost
really
like
fun crutch. That's the thing, is I think you make a good point that if they didn't, Elder Scrolls didn't exist, if Fallout didn't exist, it would just be like, whoa. Like, that's what's sad, right? People would be going, whoa, I've never seen a space game like this. I don't know. Like, I don't agree with this, but maybe because Starfield does so many things, people are like, why doesn't this one of many things, like, why isn't it developed more? I don't know. I don't agree with it because I like what it does. I like all the many things that it does. And I don't know, man. It's a game for me. It's not a game for other people. So it's like, go move on. Go, that's one of the things that you and I talked about before the podcast was, should we talk about the negativity? Because don't get me wrong, I didn't want to at first, because we want this is a podcast for the fans. But as you said, this is a thing that's going on right now.
This week in particular, there seemed to be a slew of negative stories that came out on Starfield. I saw a few. To me, it's a couple of things. Again, it's the video game awards and only the one nomination and no wins. So and it's bandwagon and mob mentality. So like I use the example of like being a Lakers fan, or like Golden State Warriors who won, and we're talking NBA basketball. But like when you get a popular franchise, or Yankees in baseball, it's like one of these big popular franchises where you see celebrities and people wearing, a Lakers hat or a Yankees hat or whatever. And then there's always a TikTok video of like guy walking around, like, name one Yankee player, and they're wearing like a Yankees baseball hat. They don't know. They're just wearing it for fashion or whatever. Point is that there's a mob mentality of, well, Starfield didn't win Best RPG or didn't win Game of the Year, so therefore it's not a good game. So all these articles came out that were like, oh, it's mid, it's blah, blah, blah. The reality is it's not. It's a great game. Midfield, yeah. It's kind of like I'm an Indiana Pacers fan. They just happen to be in the in-season tournament finals today. We'll see what happens. But like, they're a small team. They're a small market compared to Lakers, compared to Golden State Warriors or Magic even, or whatever.
Yeah.
Pick some of the bigger NBA teams, but they're still a great team and they're fun to watch. And that's like Starfield. It's still a great game. It's fun to play. And it doesn't, take anything away from it not being nominated in all these categories.
And I think you're right. Like, people want to be validated, right? They want to show, oh, see, I was right. Like, I didn't like the game, and look, it didn't win. See, and here's what's funny to me is I wasn't expecting it to win.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite game in a long time.
Mhm.
And I went into the Game Awards already going, oh yeah, it's not going to win. Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win. It's fine. I don't care.
By the way, shout out to the Baldur's Gate lead dev, or I don't know who he is, but he's wearing a suit of armor. How uncomfortable was that the entire show? He had to like sit straight up because it had like this curved back to it.
He got up on the stage. Like he was walking up in a full suit of armor.
I was like, props to him.
Piece.
Maybe next time just wear chainmail.
Like chainmail would be way more flexible. Comfortable. Yep.
I know what you're saying, because there was a Starfield modder this week that made headlines because they have a hugely popular, I think it's a co-op mod on
like
Skyrim.
Skyrim together.
And they were all excited to make a co-op mod for Starfield, and then they just up and quit and basically saying a lot of negative things about the game.
Yeah.
I think, I can't speak for that person, but it's not the same game. And I want to give a personal example. I used to build levels for a game called No One Lives Forever. And then No One Lives Forever 2 came out, and it was not the same game. It was completely new engine. Well, not a new engine. It was still based on kind of the same updated engine, but it was a completely different gameplay is what I meant to say.
Yeah.
The style of multiplayer was completely different. Everybody wanted to go back and play the original game for multiplayer. It had this community of people that loved the original games. That's what Skyrim is. That's this community, 130,000 mods strong for Skyrim. You don't just transition to a new game.
Like, just whole new system.
And everything. And like, there not be changes in your life. Like, I feel like this particular modder, I bet they'll come back. They've got hundreds of hours invested in this mod.
Yeah.
Maybe they won't. Who knows?
Maybe
But the point is, like, you have to be... You can't just fall in love with something originally and then not expect the next, like a movie sequel. There's movies that we like, Jurassic Park 2. We were talking Jurassic Park earlier.
Yeah.
The expectation rarely meets the original film, for the sequel. There's a few exceptions. Godfather Part 2, Empire Strikes Back, in my opinion, these kind of movies.
And it's funny, and I don't know if this fits the analogy, but I was just thinking about how The Lost World Jurassic Park came out, and that was like second to the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, it was like, not as good as Jurassic Park. But then every single new Jurassic Park or Jurassic Park World movie gets way worse and worse and worse. And then you kind of go back and you go, man, Lost World was actually pretty good.
Yep.
Pretty good compared to the other ones. I even like 3, and people like to make fun of 3. Because there's that dream sequence where the Velociraptor talks
I've never
to
seen
Alan.
it. Oh my God. Are you serious?
Yeah, because he starts to realize that the Velociraptor, like they're learning how the Velociraptors talk to each other using sounds. And there's a part where he's dreaming and the Velociraptor goes, "Hey, Alan." You got to see it. It's really funny.
I'm going to look it up.
We're not speaking for the modder, but like, dude, I have to imagine making a co-op mod for Skyrim, which is one big map, has to be a lot easier than 1,000 planets. And
I don't even know how you would begin to approach that.
Yeah, because like,
that's probably the reality of it, is it like he bit off something that was, a big project, more than he could chew.
I'm sure that it just didn't translate.
Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe he really does not like the game, and that's fine.
And maybe he doesn't like the game, and that's fine. But like, it's so dumb to me how like you see people like, this one modder says he doesn't like the game.
Got so much art, so many like MSNBC and like all these, I don't know. It was all over the place.
It's
PC
very
Gamer.
Silly. It's very silly. Yeah. We've talked, like, I don't want to go ad nauseum, but we've talked about how these other games that like No Man's Sky and Cyberpunk have bounced back from horrendous.
Oh my goodness. If you went back in time 2 years ago and saw the Cyberpunk 2077 reviews and just all the negative articles,
they were
crazy. Everywhere. You would think that the developer would just quit, close up shop and go away. But they persisted, and look what they have to show for it.
And those are games that had terrible launches. And then in all these people looking at Starfield, and like its launch was basically great, but some people were like, not my favorite thing. And then they're equating the fact that it's not their favorite game to these horrendous launches of other games. And it's like, dude, so anyway, my point is if those bad launches can come back and like redeem themselves, dude, Starfield is already ahead of the game because I already love that game and they are going to add to it.
Right.
It's going to be
good things in
great.
store. And the other thing is, another positive for us is that the game dropped in price. So if you actually are randomly listening to this podcast and haven't bought the game yet, now's a great chance. If you don't have Xbox, what is it, Game Pass?
Game Pass, yep.
If you're on PC, it dropped down to, I think, 50-ish instead of 70. So
I saw someone commenting that they had Game Pass and that they were playing Starfield so much that they're going to temporarily cancel Game Pass and just buy the game. It's like,
that's all they're playing. They don't need all the other games. Yeah. I did that for a while too. Like I had Game Pass and there was one title and I was like, why am I paying this for? I think that's how Game Pass makes money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. The variety, most people only probably play less than 5 titles.
Yeah.
Or maybe just, 1 or 2.
Yep.
Another article came out that said that Starfield has been played by 12 million people. So a lot of people are playing it on Game Pass. A lot of people are buying it on Steam. So it's wildly successful.
Yeah.
Even though despite the end of times, the world is ending articles and
it's so funny. It's so funny because Starfield is doing really well. Like it really is. It's played by tons of people. Its sales were crazy good, even though it's a free game on Game Pass, free asterisk, and like it's doing fine.
Well, just to kind of circle back, was there any other comments you had on the Video Game Awards or any other Starfield? Wasn't Todd Howard in the crowd? I heard something about that, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, Todd Howard was there.
That's
and
cool.
He was there, and actually Starfield had played a video. They bought ad time and they played their trailer, but then at the end it said like basically congrats to all the nominees.
That's cool.
So it's like a nice little classy move on their part.
Did you have trouble differentiating between commercials and the show? Because I'm like, because I would look away, I'd be prepping dinner or whatever, and I'd look away and a game trailer's playing. I'm like, is this a commercial or?
I think everything was part of the show.
Yeah, that 1 hour. How long was it? 2 hours?
It was probably 2.
There was a pre-show too. Did you watch any of the pre-show?
I actually did. We watched it, and it's funny because I didn't realize it was a pre-show at first, and I was like, "This is very low key this year."
Whoever was writing her jokes, I don't know. She just couldn't deliver them, or they weren't the right jokes for her. If she wrote them, then I guess they're okay. Because then
I texted my friends like, "These jokes are so terrible."
Well, you have if you're gonna tell a bad joke. Let me tell you, I've told a few in my day.
Yeah, if there's anyone that's got experience.
You got to have conviction in your bad joke.
Yeah.
If you bail halfway through delivery, then it's a disaster.
It's a very
she seemed
subtle
to bail
thing.
3/4 or halfway through when she was like reading off the teleprompter, like, I can't believe I'm going to say this horrible joke.
Yep.
And you have to own it 100%.
Man, there just were so many games that I was excited about. There's a new game called Exodus, which I wasn't blown away by it.
Right.
But
wait, is this the one where the space person finds an alien artifact and gets a special power?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a brand new idea.
It's a brand new idea.
And that was that McConaughey?
McConaughey,
yeah. Big star at the show. One of a few.
One of them, yeah. Timothy Chalamet was there too.
He got paid so much for that 10 seconds of time.
I'm sure he did.
Jeff spent his 30% of the show budget on Timothy.
Just to get Willy Wonka out there. Matthew McConaughey introduced this game. It's called Exodus. It didn't like super wow me, but it was basically the trailer was winning me over. Like I was watching, I was like, okay, this seems pretty cool. And then I found out afterwards that it's being made by some former BioWare people that were basically responsible for the original Mass Effect trilogy.
Right. Now, it had a Mass Effect feel to it, didn't it? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And these people left BioWare. BioWare now, I don't know what's going on with them. I don't.
More like BioWare. Oh. 2 out of 10.
You're 2 for 2.
2 for 2
on
the puns. Going for 3.
Well, I can't wait. They like BioWare is a shell of its former self at the moment. Maybe the new Mass Effect will be good, but we won't know for many years. And I'm kind of in wait and see mode. But the former developers that were responsible for the awesome trilogy are on this new game, so I'm excited.
That bodes well for the title. I mean, they got a big name star behind it too. I mean, he's giving voiceover in it too.
Yeah,
I guess.
Apparently, that's what's interesting. He said he's going to have an interesting relationship with the player, and then his voice, I believe, was not in the trailer at all. So it's interesting that he came out.
Keanu Reeves unveiling.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah, it did remind me of the Keanu Reeves.
But yeah, I mean the Video Game Awards, I was pleasantly surprised. Would watch again. I like the award. The award's cool looking. Has it always been like that?
It's a super
I would love
cool
to have
looking
that
award.
just because it's cool.
Yeah.
It's very polygonish.
Yeah, I love that one. You know, the Game Awards does have the award for best ongoing game.
That's my question, actually. That's what I wanted to talk about was like, is there another award for Starfield possibly in the future from the Game Awards?
I think so.
Okay.
I think that they are going to absolutely expand on this game more and more. They have already said that they want Starfield to have the 12-year staying power that Skyrim has had. They are committed to it. They're promising 5 years of support and updates and all that kind of stuff. I think for sure we are going to see it get expanded upon in a way that people are going to have to recognize.
Alan Wake just cleaned up. I mean, I expected Alan Wake to win a few, but they won 3 or 4 if I remember. So they had a big night for sure.
It was heartwarming for me to see that Alan Wake 2 was getting so much recognition because I was a longtime fan of the first Alan Wake game, and it just did not
resonate with the public or with the media.
Yeah, it came out at the same time as Red Dead Redemption. It just didn't do well off the bat. And then most of my friends haven't played it. And I'm just like, you have to play this game. It's got a mind-melting plot. And apparently the new one, which I have not played yet, is even more so. Like, everyone is like, I'm so excited to play it because everyone is saying like, wow, no one has ever done this in a game before. I'm like, done what? Don't tell me. I can't wait.
Yeah, no spoilers.
Yeah.
So I learned a new term, shadow drop. I was not familiar with that.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with that.
Yeah, so that's basically them not telling anyone that they're going to drop the game on Game Pass or on Xbox, right?
Yeah.
And then there it is.
Yep.
Baldur's Gate. That happened with Baldur's Gate, right?
They didn't with Baldur's Gate. Yeah. They forgot that. So there was one of the developers said that his job was that if they won, he was going to announce it on stage, and he forgot. Which I get it, man. There's a lot.
I'm sure word got around a game that big and that well received.
It actually
instantly everyone knew that it was shadow dropped.
It was kind of cool to do it that way by accident because. Right. You just instantly started seeing everyone on Reddit and Twitter and everything saying like, Baldur's Gate is out, guys. Like it's on Xbox.
Did you download it?
No.
Okay.
I can't.
You don't have time right now.
I'm not ready.
You will get sucked in, man. I'm telling you, it's
I'm
so
excited
great.
To play it, but I'm not ready. I still have so much to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say Bethesda is actually responsible for one of the first shadow drops I had ever seen. It was when they showed off Fallout Shelter for phone, and then they were like, "Yeah, you can get it right now.
It's available now."
Yeah,
and people's minds were blown. They're like, "What?"
I loved it, and it
was a good game, right? You like it was a really fun.
I played it so much, and I still go back to it every once in a while.
I still need to get that. Like I don't have enough hours spent on my phone doing things.
Yeah.
I think that's why I don't game on my phone.
Yeah, I played a lot of that. But I love shadow drops. I love when a game is announced and then they're like, download it right now.
Speaking of Bethesda, there were testers that worked their butts off on testing the game, and then they weren't even provided a copy of the game once, because testing is typically contract work. So it's seasonal. It's like, hey, we have a big game. We've already made the game. We're in like the last 6 months to a year before we ship the game. So we need big group of people to come in and play the heck out of it and make sure it works. So it's seasonal or it's contract work. But typically, and I have tested probably 10 different titles for huge companies, small companies, and they always give you the game.
See, okay, so I was going to ask because I wasn't aware of that. And so my first thought was like, well, I don't know. Are you entitled to a copy of the game?
I feel like you are. It was kind of like a thing like, come on. I mean, you're working day in, day out on this one title.
Yeah.
That's the least that a company can do. So it felt very weird that they didn't get a copy. And then they actually had to unionize. Although, it was spin. So some articles made it sound like, oh, the evil corporation didn't do this. And then, like there was an official press release that from Bethesda that was like, yeah, we were proud to say that we actually were able to do, these things, unionize and do these other things. So, I mean, and there's always the threat of sending the jobs overseas or, so.
That is a tricky situation. If we can use this to become better and make things better, then that's a good thing. But I didn't know that. I actually didn't know that when you test a game, you generally get a copy of it.
I mean,
that does make sense.
Yeah, and I remember when I worked at Electronic Arts, we had a public store at the front of the building where people could come in, or guests, or just anybody could go in and buy any of the EA titles.
Yeah.
And they gave the employees, at least the testers, a huge discount on any titles in there. It was like $5 a game or something like that. So I went in there and I bought all the games, all the EA games that I wanted for like, $5 a piece.
Yeah.
Which was great. I mean, you're in there and you're crunching for like 16-hour days for like months.
Yeah.
Come on.
And you're not even, like, people say, oh, but you're playing video games. But you're not playing video games the way you want to.
No.
You
do not have autonomy to do what you want. And sometimes you're giving, like, specific lists of things that you have to look at, which can be kind of monotonous. And the whole process, to be honest, is quite monotonous. But
yeah, well, I mean, from what you've told me in the past, I think, don't they, like, say, hey, you are playing level 4. So play level 4 over and over and over again.
Yeah, so I was the multiplayer lead on GoldenEye Rogue Agent, not the good GoldenEye,
not the good one,
the crappy GoldenEye, and that meant playing the same 6 whatever it was multiplayer levels just ad nauseum.
And I bet you were so good in that game.
Single player is something because you're shooting against AI, which isn't particularly in that game wasn't like super, diverse.
They're like patrolling guards. They're not coming after you like.
Yeah, but there's still like in multiplayer, you're just like typically you test it alone or you play with the same people that you are on your team.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
those
were long days.
In Starfield, we love seeing builds, right? Ship builds. There's a lot of creativity. And just when I think that, we've seen it all, a user on Reddit named Transferred Brick created basically a pirate ship. And I'm not talking about space pirates. I'm talking about
classic
an old pirate
1600s ship. Pirates.
Yeah, it looks like an old pirate ship complete with the masts and the sails. And it's just so funny to see like people building this type of stuff. And that actually
weirdly it's pink though. No, not really. It's brown.
It's brown, made of wood. It looks like it's made of wood. But that reminds me that in the Normal People Discord, we have the new weekly build event going on that we call Drive.
It's super cool. Like I can I say our first?
Yeah.
And shout out to Oliver and Baza Hadro, who came up with the idea, I guess, right? And volunteered to.
Yeah, they've been, joint with us. They've been handling it basically, and coming up with. Oh, we've got so many themes already planned out for many, many weeks to come. Oh,
you're privy to the themes?
I'm privy to the themes.
I have not seen the list. So
yeah,
I'm actually
not even.
I like the fact that I'm surprised, but I do want to say the first one was to build your ship in the letter of your first name or your
Like-
screen name or your
Yeah, whatever name you want to choose,
which is hilarious because there's a lot of really fun ship creations in there for letters. You know,
it's
I
it's
love
funny.
the A. The A is easy because it's a ship shape,
Right?
sort of,
Yeah.
except there's a hole in the middle, so it looks more like a ship. But then you've got like an O, and like a G, and I don't know. It's
well,
funny.
and I think Gilly Sparkle did a G, and and it's so funny to see a ship in that shape.
Right. It's like, where do you put the cockpit?
But I myself, I threw my hat in the ring. Now mine's definitely not the best build. I'm not trying to be the best, but mine was a big M, and I was very proud of it. So I definitely participated. But I thought this was a great first week for the Drive weekly build event because it was so just weird.
It was.
Out of
And
the box.
Drive stands for
Drive stands for Deep Space Research Interstellar Vehicle Engineering.
sweet.
Yeah.
Get in there, people.
Drive.
Show us. Join the weekly build challenge.
It drops on Sunday. So every Sunday morning, a new one will be announced. So another one coming up very soon.
It's just another thing that we have in there along with SAC.
Starfield Adventure Club.
Should we get into SAC?
Yeah, we should talk about that. Yeah, let's
Okay.
get into the sack. Into the sack we
Wait.
go.
Could you rephrase that?
Now Duane is very uncomfortable.
I turned bright red. Crimson Fleet over here.
Yeah, Starfield Adventure Club, for those new to the podcast, every week we all go as a community to the same planet and we explore, people tell stories, people make up stories, and people share screenshots. And
Yes.
it is a lot of fun to see what people come up with.
Absolutely. So did we get some good stories this week?
So this week we went to Leviathan 4.
Yeah.
This place has some pretty crazy looking spiders, for one thing. There's an ongoing story that Lee Manudeli has been telling the story of Bob. It's Bob who runs around in swim trunks that he got in Paradiso. That's how he chooses to explore these worlds. Not the safest way to explore.
A bold move, Bob.
A lot of storytelling there. Bob's quest for revenge against the Neon Travel Planner is what that story is about.
Some great mountaintop vistas of Bob, taking it all in.
Yeah.
Worst action hero jumped in. They've got their suit. Their
the alien suit.
The alien suit posed next to one of the spiders you were saying, yeah.
And also, it's always fun. So we made this discovery early on, but it was fun to see people discover that the same animal in different biomes will have different colors. So we definitely saw that with these spiders. Special shout out to Chance Shenanigan telling this story of meeting the King of Leviathan 4. It's very funny. This is a plant. This is a plant that does look very regal on this planet.
It does. He's stately in his plant-like stance. He looks like he's wearing robes. And yeah.
It's like there's a bulbous part of the plant that looks like a head, and very, very, very stately. And there's a picture
kingly
of Chance kneeling before this plant.
Yeah, last week's SAC winner Rambo also piped in with a cool shot of a humongous tree.
Yeah.
I haven't not seen a tree like that, so I thought that was pretty cool.
I haven't either. I think that's really cool to see these types of things. And this huge tree, it's got like little lily pads around it, and it's like got a pond. And then there was like a little loot chest there as well. So
bonus.
Love seeing those types of things.
A Drifting Dusty followed up with a great log as well. So check that out on the Discord.
Captain's log. And Space Cadet killing it with another awesome tale. Always bringing it every week.
He's legendary in our Discord.
Yeah.
For storytelling. Jacob piped in with some cool shots that looked almost snowy, but I think it's just kind of fog or something. Fog in the trees. Or it is snowy.
There are snowy areas.
There was snow there.
Yeah, because immediately following that, Martin Jovich has a picture standing on their ship and looking at the snowy planet, the snowy portion of it anyway. And this is a beautiful shot. It's one of my favorites, honestly.
Hadro actually found the Leviathan King as well.
There
and
we go.
They knelt before the king, paying their respects.
Oh, and
It was
then
good to see.
Agrivar met them too. So I love that this thing started with calling this plant the King of Leviathan 4, and that other members of the Adventure Club sort of.
I feel like I
have
have to find the king and
I know
bring him gifts.
Oh, that would be funny. See, I haven't seen anyone like leaving gifts at the feet of Leviathan, the King of.
He needs
Leviathan.
a proper name.
So
King
Levy,
King Plant
Levi.
Guy, King Levi,
Planty McPlanterson.
yeah.
And then just really quick shout outs to Palix and Starsat for your images.
Shout out to Merlin Jazz. Got a nice group of photos from us. And Scotty, as always. Scotty also posted a picture of his S ship from Drive.
Oh, yeah.
In front of the moon.
Very good build.
Or was that in front of Leviathan, actually?
Oh, so we got Scotty combining.
Yeah, combining Drive with SAC.
And SAC. There you go.
You were talking about offering, so Scotty actually did that. He offered the King of Leviathan Pilsner.
Okay,
he put it at the feet of
Scotty
the king.
did it. Yeah, I see it. Okay, Scotty did offer, a 6-pack to the king.
A 6-pack, eh? We also had Socrates Machado chiming in with their Star Soldier, Julius Hex. And they actually were posting about Vega too. If you are just now joining the podcast or joining the Starfield Adventure Club, you can still do any of the previous planets and post about them.
Yeah, it's fun.
We have no problem with that. Because we all remember being there. Like, we remember going there, like, oh yeah, it's cool to revisit.
Every week, we pick a winner and they get a free coffee mug, a Starfield Adventure Club themed coffee mug. But things are actually even cooler now because we had one design before. Now we have a brand new design. Yeah, you have a friend who is a graphic artist.
Yeah, my friend Israel, I reached out to him. I was like, hey, dude, I really want the tentacle or a tentacle looking thing grabbing me from behind.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's what I'm into. And so he came up with the second coffee mug. And now that one is available on Redbubble.
What's cool is our winner this week will be able to just choose which design they want. All right, and our winner this week is Chance Shenanigan for coming up with this King of Leviathan thing, but also the images and the story, and just a lot of fun. So yeah, congratulations to Chance.
Congratulations, and I will reach out and get your information and send you your choice of the SAC bourbon mug. Oh, coffee mug.
God, well,
you can put whatever you want into it.
Yeah.
You Pepsi Zero guy or no?
I actually like Crystal Clear Pepsi.
Pepsi Crystal.
Pepsi Crystal.
Oh man, taking it back. Zima too, like Zima, right?
Zima, yeah. I remember those
Zima mugs. White Claw, that's Zima today, right?
Yeah, the White Claw must
just insulted everyone who drinks White Claw.
I just remember,
a claw, bro.
I remember that Zima had the ad that was like something different. I was like, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm. You still remember it though, so it worked.
I remember it, yeah. I can't. Isn't that weird that like this ad for something that doesn't exist anymore
still takes up space in your brain?
In my brain forever.
Yep. Michael, this week in the Starfield Adventure Club, guess where we're going? Just take a wild guess. 1 in 1,000 chance.
The Pluto.
No. Well, actually, had one of our Discord users, War Wizard, reached out to me in a DM and said, "Hey, I found this really cool planet. Can we make a suggestion, or how do we make a suggestion?" And I said, "This is how you do it.
You did it.
You did it." And now we're doing it. So he said, "Check out Vesta in the Lunara system. It's really cool." And he sent me some screenshots. I showed them to you, Michael. It does look cool.
It looks really cool.
I'm not quite sure what I was looking at in some of those instances, but it was varied and it was interesting. So I was like, let's do it.
I won't spoil anything, but I saw things in the images that I have not seen before.
There you go. Vesta in the Lunara system. So it's just below Cheyenne and to the right of Nerion, which is to the right of Alpha Centauri. So it's pretty easy to find. Check it out and start posting your stories in our Discord. We have a coffee place here in Vegas called Vesta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go there too.
Hoity-toity, special coffee. It's good.
I'll go there and I'll post screenshots.
Okay, do it.
Vesta coffee. All right. Well, thanks for listening this week. Can't wait to see you all in the Discord. The link is in the show notes.
It's so fun in there. I'm enjoying that more than other social media right now. That's my first thing I go to is
Actually,
Discord.
That's true for me too.
Is it? Yeah.
I used to just open Reddit in the morning. Now I open the Discord. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So the Discord is definitely an extension of the podcast. Come by and talk to us and talk to other fans of the show.
Absolutely. And we have friends of the show. That's how we support the coffee mugs.
Yeah.
Is if anyone loves the show, wants to support us being able to send out the coffee mugs, go onto YouTube. You can become a super fan. You can do it that way.
We have a membership as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely helps us to get coffee mugs out to the winners every week.
We reinvest it back into the community.
Thanks to everyone that listens on Spotify, Apple, and thanks to those watching on YouTube. All links are provided in the show notes below.
Yes, indeed. Extra special thanks for comments and feedback. If you have a comment, suggestion, or an in-game story to share, you can leave a comment on our YouTube page.
And if you like the show, consider dropping a 5-star review on your favorite podcast app. That really helps us out a ton.
Thanks for traveling the Starfield with us. I didn't get my 3 of 3 jokes in, and I can't think of anything now. So you'll just have to come to the Discord and watch me post meme after meme.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll make up for it.
You know what I like, though? You didn't try to force it.
Yeah, that's important. Never force it.
It's going to happen naturally.
Yeah. That works in so many ways. In life.
Just it's a good rule to apply everywhere.
Yeah.
All right. And make sure you subscribe because we will be back for more next week.
Yep. See you then.